Hey everybody, welcome to Fanboys. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Paul.
And this is episode
14!
14? 15?
It's 14.
14,
Yes.
Okay.
We're starting to lose track.
Yeah, we are starting to lose track. Sorry. I'm starting to lose track. You seem to be on top of it. Alright, so this episode we're going to be talking about Terror in Resonance.
A very, very special, awesome
Yeah.
anime that just premiered its first episode. But ladies and gentlemen, at Anime Expo, we got to see episode 1 and 2. So we're
Very exciting.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about both of those episodes, and what is it? Gotta say, man, what is it? When I was writing that article beforehand, non-spoilers are hard.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so
It'd be near impossible to do a review on this show without doing spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I did a fair job.
Yeah, you know.
It's something up there, you know? And so we're doing this podcast to basically balance out between the two. Like, if you want a non-spoiler review, we got that article there.
Mm-hmm.
And once the second episode comes out, if you want to get into our special analysis of it, yeah, this is what this video is for.
Yay! Alright, so, I don't know, do we want to talk about our experience to see Terror in Resonance?
Oh, why
Anime
not?
Expo?
Why not?
We waited in line for an hour and a half, and we're not even in, I wouldn't say we're at the front of the line.
Yeah, we were like...
Not really.
What were we, like, 200 something?
245
or something
like that. It was insane, and that was an hour and a half before, and they put us outside in the sun.
We were baking.
Oh, man. Anime Expo. Organization. Come on. But yeah, it was totally worth it, though, because not only did we get to see the first episode, but we also got to see the second episode.
Yeah.
You know, I think 2-3 weeks before it was going to come out, which is awesome.
Uh-huh.
And so this is a show that I've been really excited about for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
This is Watanabe. He did Cowboy Bebop. He did Samurai Champloo. Recently has done Space Dandy, which is it's a comedic, episodic and comedic show, which is like very weird kind of for him.
But it was actually pretty funny because like we got a little announcement beforehand from the director, and he's like, "Yeah, I also made Space Dandy, but this is nothing like it. So I hope people don't get confused."
Yeah, it is definitely nothing like Space Dandy.
Yeah.
Let me say that much. So, and not only that, this is also the character designer from Samurai Champloo, who did a great job with Samurai Champloo.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mugen and Jin are great character designs in general.
Absolutely.
And it's just, they're good characters, obviously. But, and it's also Yoko Kanno, who did the music for Cowboy Bebop.
And, what is it, Kids on the Slope
Kids
as
on the
well.
Slope, yeah. So, which is one of my favorite recent shows. So, I mean, this is like trifecta of awesome.
This is
right now.
Hardcore Titans all over the place with a wonderful budget.
Seriously, it is this show, before we ever get into any spoilers, it is just Watanabe with a budget.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Yeah.
He obviously, like, I want to do this, this, and this, but that would be way too expensive to do. And now he actually has the budget to do it, so he's doing it.
And it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's the animation just in and of itself. I mean, you always see these kind of stylized versions of things. You know, No Game No Life is a great example, actually.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, it's very stylized. It doesn't necessarily look realistic. And it doesn't have to. That's the great part about anime. Right? But Terror in Resonance is fantastic because it still has an anime feel, but the explosions that we saw in the first 2 episodes, the smoke, that blew my mind. When the building collapses and the dust starts to rush.
Yeah.
I mean, and the snow, too, in the very first scene.
Right. And the one thing I was looking at was even just like the details of the city and stuff.
That's another thing, for sure.
Like, this is absolutely beautiful, but I feel like this is little by little this is becoming more and more of the standard, you know? Because, like, again and again it reminds me of, like, 5 centimeters per second, the level of detail. on that, and I've seen a little bit more of that here and there, and I'm like, oh, everything's beautiful now.
Yeah. No, it's definitely true. Whoever does the backgrounds for this show did a really good job.
Absolutely.
They didn't waste much.
Yeah.
Yet they still have really, really good detail, especially in the buildings and, when they're in that shopping mall.
Right.
In that first episode, it's just, the backgrounds are amazing.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's definitely Watanabe with a budget.
Yeah.
And if you like Watanabe, you're really going to like this.
You're going to love this.
Yeah, the other thing I noticed about this is, Watanabe is just now starting to experiment with overarching stories, really. Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, they were episodic.
That's right, yeah.
So is Space Dandy. So it's a little interesting to see him say, I've always wanted to do a show like this, when he's been doing episodic shows for so long. So it's kind of interesting to, I don't know, I'm looking forward to how that works out.
Right.
One of my favorite things about Cowboy Bebop is that it's episodic, and that it can take a character and get a lot of depth out of them in one episode.
Right, yeah.
So I'm interested to see what he does with a longer form story.
I think it's gonna be absolutely phenomenal, and definitely this narrative calls for the long story.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. You can't do you can't really. I mean, it is episodic in some nature. Obviously, it's a TV show, so it kind of has to be episodic.
Well, yeah,
because the first episode has a different kind of thing going on than the second episode.
That's true.
But still, both those episodes are setting up for something in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
it can. I guess it can still take an episodic nature if lot of the episodes are different schemes.
Attacks.
How the police department has to try and beat them.
And I mean,
kind of thing.
I can totally expect that, but this is definitely more overarching, I would say.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a really good thing. Because I don't know, every time Watanabe has a new show coming out, and it's 12 episodes, I was worried about that with Kids on the Slope. And I still kind of am, because...
Was Kids on the Slope just 12?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Oh.
12, 13?
It felt longer.
I am looking this up.
It was just that good. You're probably right.
I want to make sure, though. I definitely want to make sure. Because if so, I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about. Wait. Yeah, 12. Yeah, episode 12. Okay, good. I'm glad I wasn't going crazy there. But yeah, I'm still a little bit worried about the pacing of a 12-episode show with Watanabe. Because my only problem with Kids on the Slope is that the ending seems rushed. And I think that's a lot of people's complaint with the show. And it's a legitimate complaint. It doesn't ruin the show. It's very much more about, there's a lot going on, and it just seemed that they had a lot going on in episodes 10 and 11, and 12 it was like, well, now that he's under so much pressure, so everything falls apart. Well, in one episode, that's a little quick.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
I'm a little worried about if this is also a 12-episode show, and it is, it's 11.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope the pacing doesn't get screwed up.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely a lot of anime audiences are really on edge with that concept after seeing stuff like Macaca City Actors, and especially No Game, No Life.
Where they rush things.
Yeah.
There are very good 12, 13... Well, Kids on the Slope is a very good, in my opinion, 12-episode series. It's just... my main complaint about the series, besides kind of being sometimes overdramatic, is the rushed ending.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I'm just really hoping that with 11 episodes you can get what you need out of the show. Or, you're hoping for a second season. Mm-hmm. And if you're hoping for a second season, go for it. But you gotta jump on board knowing you're gonna get it if you plan that way.
Yeah, I want to say that I feel like he knows what he's doing, because 11 is an odd number,
Yeah, and that's, you're right.
Yeah.
It's very weird when you think about it. 11 episodes is not your normal.
Absolutely. It's always 12, 24.
Yeah, 12 or 24. And, you can go, there's 23-episode series, 25-episode series, there's 13-episode series, there's 11-episode series, but I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like this is not. This doesn't feel like an 11 episode series to me. That's why I'm worried.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if we see everything kind of figure out and we get more info on who they are, why they're 9 and 12.
Yeah.
You know, what's going on with Lisa? I want to know more about that, obviously.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, what is it? I feel like, what am I feeling, Andrew?
I don't know, Paul.
Like, I think it can do good, you know, because, what I imagine is, like, oh, there's, like, so much they have to do to take over so much of the city, or even, like, a country or something, but it's like, I can see this series going in a direction of, like, they made a few hits, but then got caught. And I think I'd be okay with that as long as they take in a really heavy emotional toll on the characters.
Yeah, and I mean, I can see that. I can definitely see that. I just really don't want to rush ending.
Absolutely
so
not.
That's the only thing that I'm like, please don't rush it. Please don't feel like you're going to get into a position where you have to end it now.
Yeah.
You know, and you're, you know, suddenly people are, you just introduced 5 characters, but you have to end the series.
Right.
I don't want that to happen.
No.
So.
And I mean, this definitely won't be as bad as Makaku, because there aren't, like, 8 to 10 main characters kind of
That's
thing.
true. But, I mean, you know, Makaku definitely tied most of them together. It left...
They did a pretty good job, but oh my...
some of them hanging.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean...
But yeah, 2/3 of it was setup, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, I liked those setup in Makaku City Actors, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I definitely know what you mean.
But no, I mean, I think I don't think it will be as much setup in this, like, because they already got the ball rolling in episode 2 as far as, like, mission and purpose and everything like that.
That's true.
And, what is it? They'll probably integrate the flashbacks in between, because there are a couple essential things we need to know.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck happened to 9 and 12?
Yeah. so yeah, I mean, I guess let's just talk about that. Let's just go straight into... So, first episode, first of all, amazing scene to set up the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, there's a little bit of setup to that scene. They say that, you know, 6 months ago, some plutonium was stolen. Mm-hmm. And then they go into this scene where they're stealing it.
Right.
And it perfectly sets up 2 things, in my opinion, in this whole series. Number 1 is the animation.
Yeah, absolutely.
When he's doing the spray can, that just about blew my mind. Because it zooms in on him, and his finger and the whole spray can looks so real as he's, like, just depressing a button.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good lord.
I love it.
Somebody spent a lot of time on this.
Yeah. And then spray painting that name established who they are.
Exactly.
Like, pretty elegantly.
Who is VON?
Yeah.
And that's obviously something that's going to be a reveal at the end.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just a great scene to open it up. And it's also a very action-packed scene.
Definitely.
You have them carrying this plutonium throughout the facility.
Yeah.
And the guards can't shoot at it because they're really afraid of
blowing up. Yeah.
And they escape on a friggin' snowmobile. I mean, it's a great scene.
Right from the get-go, you're like, okay, these guys don't take any crap.
No, not at all.
They just do what they want.
Yep. So it's a really great opening to the series.
Absolutely.
It establishes that they're smart, obviously. Yeah. I mean, he's in the facility as one of the people taking care of plutonium.
Yeah.
And he's there with a spray can. I mean, I don't know how he managed to do that, right? And then the other guy is dressed in police outfit in one of the police, snowmobiles.
Right, yeah.
With a grenade.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are obviously, they know how to get into these situations.
Absolutely.
So,
it's like, especially, well, it's just the nature of 12, but how casual he was about the whole thing. It's like, oh, we do this every day kind of behavior, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
It was really, really awesome.
It was.
So, yeah, I mean,
so after that scene, we got introduced to perhaps the most beautiful intro I have ever seen in my life. Holy crap!
The intro is really good.
Okay, like a lot of like the transitioning and like 50% opacity images reminds me a lot of the intro of Kids on a Slope.
Yeah, that's definitely true, actually.
In combination with this incredibly haunting theme and the song, oh my gosh. Yeah, so beautiful.
They picked a really good song for this.
Yeah.
It's not this, like, metal, like, rock song.
No.
That you would, I think, normally attribute to, like, an action show. I think this intro kind of establishes this is more of a drama.
This is, what is it? Wikipedia categorized it as a psychological thriller.
Yeah, and I would totally agree with that.
It's like this is the definition of psychological thriller.
And so the intro was really, really good. I was really glad that they picked this song.
And with Anime Expo's great planning, we got to watch it, like, 5 times?
Yeah, 4 or 5 times in a row.
So on top of that terrible line, what is it? The video got corrupted.
Like, at the very beginning, it got corrupted.
Yeah, we watched that snow scene, and then it got corrupted in the middle of the intro. And they had to dig up, like, 4 different files. It got us really scared.
And then they finally found one that worked.
We got through it.
They finally found one that worked, and it was great quality, and we get to watch the whole thing, so that was super awesome. Thank you, Funimation. But really, you should test it next time. Make sure it works beforehand.
It's not that hard to watch the whole... It's 30 minutes.
Just leave it on in the background as you're doing something else, and make sure that it works. Yeah, but, so that was a thing. So we got to watch the opening like 4 or 5 different times, but that was all right. I mean, it's a good opening, at least. So,
beautiful.
Opening was really good. Then we got into the episode itself, and so I guess I have a quick question. Like, what was your reaction to? Because I think one of the very first scenes is Lisa meeting them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, when she was getting harassed by those other girls.
Yeah. So, like, what is your reaction to that? Just right off the bat. Like, what did you think about the characters? Because this is the first time we've seen all 3 of them.
You know, what is it? I was kind of talking about this in my article a bit. Like, Lisa as a character in general, it's hard to say if she's going to be as strong as the other characters or just kind of the victim's eyes kind of thing, you know? I would have to say it depends on how deep her problems are, but there was definitely a massive amount of melancholy just looking at this girl, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, along with the harassment, you know, okay, there's something wrong with her kind of thing, in one sense or another.
Yeah,
and
no, that's definitely true.
I think the setup for her narration to the 2 other characters was really cool, you know, like a smile like the sun.
Yeah.
Like the sun with ice cold eyes kind of thing.
With eyes like ice.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the first thing I noticed too, is that that's a perfect setup for those 2 characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're obviously very different. 9 is steely and kind of cold, and 12 is
happy-go-lucky, quote,
very
unquote, innocent acting.
Yeah, he's definitely acting innocent the whole time. Yeah. Really interesting.
Yeah.
That's where we are. And personally, I like Lisa a lot. Because I think, like what you're saying with the victim's eyes, it gives us a different perspective. But also the thing about that is that if we get into the subject of victimization, and she's like on their side, and she's not going to be a victim anymore, she's really going to be the person that has a potential to stop them.
That's true.
And that's going to be interesting, because she's been a victim her whole life. Why would she ever do that?
Yeah.
So if that's where they go with that, or if they go in another direction, actually, either way, I think it's going to be really, really interesting.
Absolutely.
Because I think you're going to see... Yeah, you're going to get to see a little bit more of her, like, how she deals with that whole scenario of being the only one who basically can stop them.
It's really hard to say, though, if she'll do that or just embrace this whole terrorism act. Because, you know, almost right away, like, she even says that she hates the whole world.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why this is interesting.
Yeah.
If she really gets into it, That's going to be interesting.
Absolutely.
If she doesn't at all and she's having reservations about it the whole time.
Yeah.
That's also interesting.
Definitely hard to say because, like, I feel like inside she definitely has this, like, hatred thing going, but at the same time, she's so afraid to do anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
especially something so dramatic, you know?
And I really like this portrayal. The other reason I like Lisa is I really like this portrayal of anxiety.
Yeah. They did do a really good job with that.
Yeah. I was very surprised by how good that was.
Especially in, like, the explosion scene.
Yeah.
At the end of the episode.
It was incredible.
It was, like, blurred, rocky camera with this, like, white noise sound
you
going.
See
it's
inside
like,
her head.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Absolutely.
You know, she's in the bathroom for the first, like, half of that episode.
Yeah.
She's constantly getting texts from her mother, and she can't handle it.
Right.
So she feels like she has to throw up. And then you see inside of her mind as that whole thing is unveiling.
Yeah.
And we also see that in the second episode as well. Getting into spoiler territory here for the second episode, if you haven't seen it. In the second episode, when 12 tells her, you know, don't get in my way, basically.
Yeah.
At the very end of that episode, he says, don't get in my way or I'll kill you. You also see that. There's a lot of white noise. She focuses purely on him, and she's obviously very freaked out.
Yeah.
So, I like that. Every scene that she's in, we see an anxiety perspective. It's not just a victim perspective. It's like a person with anxiety.
Right.
Having that perspective. And how they deal with it. So, I think that's why I think I kind of like Lisa. Now, as a character, we haven't seen anything from her. Like, what?
Just like her crazy mom.
Right. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't really do anything. And I think that's by design at this point. They're setting up the rest of it.
Right.
But I think she could be a very interesting character.
Absolutely. And what is it? That last scene at the end you were talking about where, that was one of my favorite scenes at the end of episode 2 where he says, like, you're not one of us, and if you screw things up, I'm going to kill you. That's the first... That's, like, the first scene where we see, like, a whole nother side to 12.
And you know it's there.
Yeah.
You know it's there from the beginning.
Yeah.
This guy is not... He jumps in the pool when she's getting bullied.
Yeah.
He's not doing that to make her feel better.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's something else going on.
Yeah.
You don't quite... And you still don't get it. But you don't quite see all of it until that moment. And then you're like, okay, yeah, no, it's like, I thought that was the case.
Yeah.
And also in that episode, you see a little bit of duality with 9 as well. 9 wakes up in the middle of the night having that horrible dream. And 12 goes...
That's like the first time you see, like, vulnerability in him.
And 12 says, are you going to be distracted? Are you distracted by her? Do you see her eyes and they remind you of them? Because you can't get distracted right now. That's interesting to me. 12 is so warm all the time.
Yeah.
9 is so cold. And then immediately, in the second episode, they establish that that's not the case.
Right.
That one of them is acting, and one of them can't act. That's why he's cold.
It's like the two positions are reversed, and like deep down, 12 is actually the mastermind of the two.
Or at least 12 is the one that's more brutal. He's the one that's more detached.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, more sociopathic. That's kind of what I would classify 12 as.
Okay.
I think he's more... Well, a sociopath, it's a little bit difficult, because a sociopath doesn't know how to act in public.
And he kind of...
But that's the thing, it's like...
Yeah.
I guess maybe it's not a sociopath, because I don't know, I always get those confused. Like, I don't know if a sociopath is the one that just acts like a certain way in public, but that's not actually the way he's feeling, so he can't feel. I think that's what a sociopath is, right?
I think so.
So that's what I would classify 12 as. Basically, he can't feel, he doesn't understand emotion, so instead he acts a certain way.
Yeah. As opposed to 9, who is feeling a lot, but is constantly trying to blockade it so no one sees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because Lisa, thinks
the
smile
opposite,
like the sun,
the face
and
value
eyes
of
like
it,
eyes.
kind of thing.
The face value, but doesn't see that that's probably not the case.
Right.
And at the end of episode 2, it's like, switch was flipped. Shit.
Yeah.
And now she's starting to realize maybe that isn't the case.
Yeah. And another thing is, like, again, we see near the end of episode 2, once they finally figured out the puzzle of like blowing up the police station.
Yeah.
You see this like thrill in Nine's eyes, kind of thing. It's like, okay, his passion's starting to leak out.
Yep.
Because it's like face value cold, in deep, a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
And opposite, number 12, super silly, like quote social guy kind of thing, but he's just like this super dark, organized soul. In the end, you know. So, like, even bringing Lisa on board was his plan, and I feel like he had really deep, like, meaning for it, because like you were saying, he was talking to 12 about, can you handle this, and he's like, okay, maybe this will help, kind of thing, saving someone, kind of thing.
So it's interesting because so I don't know, it's just because they could change again too, and 12 could really be. He could really have a lot of emotion into what he's going, or a lot of passion into what he's doing, or he could just be toying with 9.
Yeah.
We don't know, right? The whole thing is really interesting, because 2 episodes in, and this is the other thing about fast pace, 2 episodes in, it's already changed a lot. Which is a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, if you had some more time, maybe spend some more time to go into those kind of things. But at the same time, I think it worked great.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of episode 2, we get the kind of 12 says, I'll kill you if you mess up. And 9's showing a little bit more breaking, and so that can be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just hope they spend a little bit of time going into it.
Yeah. And along the way, it seems like we'll also get a lot of this really intricate, like, crime mystery element to it, you know? I feel like that'll be like the soft core of the episode, along with all of this extra like character development, like, wrapping around it.
Yeah, I realized that we just started talking about the characters. I don't even know if the characters are going to be the best part of the show. Actually, I think if it gets to the point where the characters are just kind of like along for the ride, I'd even be okay with that, because the show is very the detective Shibasaki, the detective, is very, like, he's just an interesting character.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's a little bit cliche.
Yeah.
Like, cop he's sent to the records department, and now that's where he works.
You think you know the plan, but this is actually the plan.
Yeah, you know, that guy.
Yeah.
But I think that could be really interesting, because I think it's also very, like, topical. Like, terrorist attacks are a big thing right now.
Yeah.
And they're constantly on the internet looking for leads, and the detective obviously knows that, and he understands, like, modern technology and all this. So it can be really, I think that's going to be really interesting, because we're going to see a modern kind of crime drama.
Right, exactly.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know, even if these characters just kind of like took a ride to the story and went along with it, I think the story's going to be strong enough, because the second episode proved that.
I don't think anyone's along for the ride, and I think the main part is going to be great. I think every single part is going to be at 100%.
Yeah, I might agree with you. I don't want to get overhyped. I really don't want to get overhyped, but it's looking good. It's looking really good.
We got the chase and the emotional development both going at the same time so beautifully and intricately.
I mean, and that's the thing too, is like this about this, like, the psychological kind of thriller part of this is, they set up this terrorist attack, and they give the police this whole, riddle and everything, and so once again establishing that they're really smart, but now the detective is coming into this as well.
Right.
And obviously blow up the police station.
Yeah.
Instead of where they thought they were going to blow it up.
Right. I was fooled by that too. I was like, I know this riddle. The man.
Yeah.
So it was a Sphinx riddle, and their name is Sphinx. So
yeah, that's what they call themselves.
Right.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to new episodes of this.
Yeah.
It's going to look really good.
Just wanted to address really quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
Their past flashback.
Right. So lots of little kids in a room, right? Is that the one you're thinking of, or which one?
Where they're running from where they're trying to get over the fence, and one kid basically like burns up.
Yeah. So what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Also, is that related to VON?
Could be.
Because that's what I'm thinking. Is VON some kind of... Because they're 9 and 12. So are they a part of
There were other ones.
There's others.
Maybe,
there has to be, right?
Maybe, as far as they know, the other ones were killed, kind of thing.
Well, that's the thing, too.
Yeah.
As far as they know the other ones are killed, but realistically, you're not going to take
There's
the opportunity.
There's going to be a surprise.
Yeah. You can't not take the opportunity to bring in another...
Absolutely.
Whatever, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there has to be others. Is VON part of that? And that's actually what I'm wondering it might be. That might be actually kind of cool. VON is like, they were part of a government experiment.
Yeah.
And they were 9 and 12 in the experiment. Everybody else, they thought everybody else died, and the experiment is VON.
Yeah.
Are they trying to say something about that? Like, that's messed up? Like, don't do those experiments? Like, are they trying to bring that to light? I think, personally, that VON is something secret. That they're trying to bring out to the public.
Could be.
And whatever that is, I don't know what it's going to be. But that's my kind of theory right now.
Yeah, I can see that, definitely.
Like, because they're obviously anti-government.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, I think that's maybe what's going to happen is, like, it's going to be something secretive that the government doesn't want people to know about. And that's what they're trying to bring to light. Mm-hmm. So,
that makes
I don't know.
sense.
I'm just excited to see
because I mean,
if,
it seems like
if Seven shows up at some point.
Yeah. So like, it's hard to say if they really want to like harm people, because like especially with the first threat, they gave a lot of like time. To,
they gave a lot
get
of warning.
Everyone out.
They got everybody out
of
the
somehow no one got killed in that massive explosion.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
A building collapses and everybody's fine.
Yeah.
That was a little...
That was crazy.
Really. But, I mean, they did evacuate the whole building first.
Right, exactly.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
That they would evacuate the building first, and then they said, like, 37 people got injured.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I don't know. Do they not want people to get hurt? Here's the other thing about that. What happened to the police?
Ooh.
Did somebody die in that explosion? It wasn't a very big explosion.
Yeah.
It was a pretty small one, but it was an explosion nonetheless.
Uh-huh.
Did somebody die in that? Maybe it's that they don't want innocents to get killed. They don't believe the police are innocent.
Ooh,
and that could be real, because they
yeah.
work for the government.
Right.
That would make sense. So, I don't know. We haven't seen a lot of that yet.
Yeah.
But,
so where do you think they target next, then?
Well, and that's the thing, are they going after the government? Are they going after infrastructure? I think it's infrastructure. I think the building collapsing was a statement. The police is a statement that they can get inside your head.
Yeah.
And I think now they go after, like, infrastructure. We don't really know what they're actually after. Like, is the terrorist attacks meant just to bring to life VON? Is it the ultimate goal that they're going to set off a nuclear bomb? They have plutonium, right?
Perhaps it's a statement such as, very similar along the lines of, like, bringing to light VON. It's like, they were experiments of them, and they're saying, look at the monsters you've created.
Yeah, and that's definitely the other one, too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, we don't know. We don't know yet, and that's the best part.
I'm so excited.
Best part.
Yeah.
I'm really excited, actually.
It's gonna be great. This is, by far, I've been most excited for this than anything in a really, really long time.
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I really would. I'm super pumped for this. It's been a long time coming for Watanabe to get a significant budget and be able to run away with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now he does, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they all come up with. We didn't really talk about the soundtrack, so I'm just going to mention really quickly. Holy shit. It's really good.
Basically like everything else in this show. It's through the roof
it's
amazing.
Epic. Every theme for each character, every soundtrack for each one is completely unique and is perfect for that character. The music when he's walking into the police station it just gets louder and it drowns everything out. You hear nothing but this really loud, like, guitar and electronic music as you're setting up the bomb.
Yeah.
It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect for that scene. And it just, I don't know, I'm really, really excited to see more of that.
Definitely.
This is, once again, this is a soundtrack I will be getting. Because I got Kids on the Slope immediately.
Oh,
immediately.
nice.
Right as it came out, I'm like, I'm buying this. I don't even care. So yeah, soundtrack is also really good.
Seriously. I just can't get over the theme song, personally.
It's really good.
Beautiful and frightening all at the same time.
Yeah.
Wonderful contrast. Ugh. Oof.
So, yeah.
Those were the first 2 episodes.
The first 2 episodes.
You should be very darn excited for this show.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched anything yet, oh my gosh, go watch it.
Yeah. Please go watch Terror in Resonance. It seems really good. So far, the first 2 episodes were really good. So, go check it out. It's on Funimation.
Yep.
So you just go to Funimation.com. They have the whole thing streaming, and they'll have it streaming. It's for free, and you have ads, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, I think.
And then it's like a week delay if you don't pay for it. I think it's the same thing as Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they got a little member thing.
Yeah.
And all that.
So yeah, go watch it. Really awesome. Really looking forward to the next episode. It's going to be a little bit.
Seriously.
It's going to be a couple weeks before we see the new one.
Yeah. I think all around this is just going to be a revolution in our generation.
What do you mean, like?
It's gonna be one of those like defining animes of our generation.
I hope so. I do. I don't know. I think it's a little too early to say that.
Yeah.
But so far, it's amazing.
Yeah. It is. It really is.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for this episode.
Yeah.
Of the Fan Voice. Go check out Terror in Resonance Funimation.
Yeah. Keep up with our stuff too. We always post news of stuff and like reviews as well, written reviews. So we'll probably do a few written reviews as the episodes progress through this series, along with other stuff too.
Yeah. I'll be probably writing about I'll Know a Zero, possibly.
Okay.
Which is another one coming out this season, so.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for reviews and news and stuff at thefanvoice.com.
All of our good things. Okay, so,
and we're also at Facebook.com/thefanvoicepodcast.
YouTube.com/thefanvoicepodcast.
Twitter at thefanvoicepodcast.
Fanvoice Podcast.
Fanvoice Podcast. God, every time! Twitter at Fanvoice Podcast. And
our email, fan@thefanvoice.com.
I fail so hard.
It's okay, Andrew. It's okay.
Fail so much.
We got a lot of things to say. And then, of course, our wonderful website, thefanvoice.com.
Alright, so we'll see you guys next week.
Yes, see you later.
Bye, guys. Bye.